Here are Grandma's 45 plus Great Depression life hacks that still work today. Stretch milk with water. Did you know that you can stretch milk with water? Apparently, Grandma often used this clever trick during the Great Depression to save on groceries and make essentials last longer. To try this, mix 2 parts milk with 1 part cold water in a clean container. Stir gently but thoroughly to ensure the consistency remains smooth. Use the diluted milk in recipes, cereals, or drinks. To maintain flavor, use cold water, and don't over-dilute for best results. Make coffee from chicory. Chicory root can replace coffee when supplies are low. Roasting chicory enhances its nutty flavor, making it a satisfying alternative. Start by washing the roots thoroughly, then chop them into small pieces. Roast in the oven at 300 degrees Fahrenheit until golden brown, then grind them into a fine powder. Brew as you would regular coffee grounds. Adding a splash of milk or sweetener creates a richer, smoother cup. Start a victory garden to grow your own food. Growing your own food was a lifeline during the Great Depression. A small patch of soil can yield vegetables and herbs for your meals. Choose fast-growing plants like lettuce, radishes, and tomatoes. Plant seeds in rows or containers, ensuring adequate sunlight and water. Fertilize with compost for natural nutrients. Gardening also saves money and provides fresh produce, making it an invaluable skill during tough times. Grind acorns to make flour. Acorns, a surprising food source, can be ground into flour for baking. Remove the shells and boil the nuts to leach out bitter tannins. Dry them thoroughly, then grind into a fine powder using a blender or food processor. The resulting flour works well in breads, pancakes, or as a thickener. Acorn flour offers a rich, nutty flavor and is packed with nutrients, making it a resourceful choice. Make hobo stew by combining whatever food is available. Hobo stew was a staple of frugal living during the Great Depression. Gather any available vegetables, beans, or scraps of meat. Dice everything into bite-sized pieces, then simmer in a pot with water or broth. Add salt, pepper, and spices for flavor. The beauty of this stew is its flexibility. You can adjust based on what's on hand. It's a hearty, nourishing dish that embodies creativity in the face of scarcity. Use onion syrup for colds. Onions might surprise you with their medicinal benefits. Containing sulfur compounds and antioxidants, onions can help soothe a sore throat and reduce inflammation. To make onion syrup, slice 1 onion thinly and layer the slices in a jar with sugar or honey. Cover the jar and let it sit for 6-8 hours, allowing the juices to form a syrup. Strain the liquid and take a teaspoon whenever your symptoms act up. Patch things with flour paste. Flour and water can solve small repair problems with ease. To make a simple paste, mix equal parts flour and water in a bowl until the consistency is smooth and thick. Spread the mixture on torn paper or fabric and press the edges together firmly. The paste forms a bond as it dries, thanks to the adhesive properties of starch in the flour. For extra strength, let it dry completely before handling. Reinvent leftovers into casseroles. Turn leftovers into a delicious, cohesive meal. Combine cooked meat, vegetables, and grains or pasta in a baking dish, then pour over a sauce or gravy. Sprinkle with shredded cheese or breadcrumbs for a golden crust, and bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 to 30 minutes. Baking melds the flavors together, creating a hearty dish from disparate ingredients. Experiment with seasoning and textures to make every casserole uniquely satisfying. Sew feed sack fabric into clothes or curtains. Feed sack fabric was a lifesaver in tough times. Its durability and colorful patterns made it ideal for crafting useful items. To reuse it, carefully unpick the seams and wash the fabric thoroughly. Press it flat with an iron, then cut it into patterns for clothing, aprons, or curtains. Sew the pieces together, adding decorative stitching if desired. Use newspapers as insulation. Newspapers were an ingenious way to keep homes warmer during the Great Depression. Layer several sheets together and stuff them into gaps around windows or doors to block drafts. Flattened pages can also line walls or attics for added insulation. The secret lies in the trapped air between compressed layers, which reduces heat transfer. To maximize effectiveness, use thicker bundles of paper in larger gaps and secure them tightly. Use vinegar for cleaning. Vinegar is Grandma's all-in-one cleaning solution even up to now. Its acidity helps dissolve grease, soap scum, and mineral deposits. Mix equal parts white vinegar and water in a spray bottle. Use it to clean countertops, glass, or even floors. Let it sit on tough stains for a few minutes before wiping. Avoid using it on stone surfaces like granite, as the acid can cause etching. Make mayonnaise with eggs, oil, and vinegar. Homemade mayonnaise is simple and cost-effective. It works because eggs act as an emulsifier, binding oil and vinegar into a creamy mixture. Crack one egg into a bowl, add a teaspoon of vinegar, and whisk while slowly drizzling in 1 cup of oil. Continue whisking until thickened. Use room temperature ingredients for a smoother emulsion. Store the mayonnaise in the refrigerator for up to a week in an airtight container. Use sugar water hair gel. Sugar can do more than sweeten. It makes a surprisingly effective hair gel. When dissolved in water, sugar creates a sticky solution that helps hold hair in place. Combine 1 tablespoon of sugar with 1 cup of hot water, stirring until the sugar dissolves completely. Let it cool before applying it to your hair with your fingers. For extra hold, use less water or reapply as needed during the day. Turn apple cores into jelly. Apple cores are perfect for making jelly. They contain natural pectin, which thickens the jelly as it cooks. Gather the cores and simmer them in water for about 30 minutes. Strain the liquid and combine it with sugar and a splash of lemon juice. Boil until it reaches a jelly-like consistency. Pour the mixture into sterilized jars. Add cinnamon or cloves for an aromatic twist before sealing. Use ashes from fires as a garden fertilizer. Fire ashes are an excellent natural fertilizer. They're rich in potassium and calcium, essential nutrients for plant growth. Once the ashes have cooled, sprinkle them lightly around plants or mix them into the soil. Avoid using ashes from treated wood as they may contain harmful chemicals. Water the area after applying to help the nutrients seep into the soil. Use sparingly to prevent altering soil pH too drastically. Make a depression cake without eggs, milk, or butter. Known for its simplicity, depression cake is made with basic ingredients. The science behind it lies in vinegar and baking soda, which react to create a rise. Combine flour, sugar, cocoa powder, baking soda, and a pinch of salt in a bowl. Add water, oil, and a teaspoon of vinegar, mixing until smooth. Bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. Let it cool before serving to enjoy its surprisingly rich flavor. Use dried orange peels for fire starters. Did you know that dried orange peels are excellent fire starters? Their natural oils are flammable and produce a bright, long-lasting flame. To prepare, slice the peels into strips and leave them in a warm, dry place until fully dehydrated. Use them to ignite kindling or toss them directly into a fireplace. They also release a pleasant citrus aroma when burned, making them functional and fragrant at the same time. Make kites from newspaper and string. Building a kite with a newspaper is fun and resourceful. The lightweight nature of newspaper allows it to catch the wind easily. Lay out a single sheet, attach wooden dowels in a cross shape, and secure them with tape. Tie string to the frame, ensuring it's taut but not overly tight. Decorate your kite for a personal touch. Test it on a breezy day for an enjoyable, inexpensive outdoor activity. Harvest wild greens like dandelions for food. Dandelions are more than just weeds. They're nutritious and edible. Their leaves contain vitamins A and C, making them a valuable food source. Harvest young dandelion leaves from areas free of pesticides or pollutants. Rinse thoroughly before using them raw in salads or sautéed like spinach. Add the flowers to teas or baked goods. For a heartier meal, pair the greens with grains or beans for added protein. Repurpose old tires. Old tires can find new life in countless ways. Their durability makes them ideal for creating planters, swings, or even garden pathways. Clean the tire thoroughly and decide on its new use. Cut it into sections for edging or paint it to brighten a yard. Drill drainage holes if using it as a planter. Tires can also be turned into stools by adding cushions and rope wrapping for a rustic look. Use peelings to create a broth. Grandma doesn't consider vegetable peelings as waste. She'd instead use them as base for a flavorful broth. Packed with nutrients, peelings release their flavors when simmered. Save scraps like carrot tops, onion skins, and celery ends in a freezer bag. Boil the mix in water with a pinch of salt for an hour, then strain the liquid. Use this broth in soups, stews, or rice dishes for added depth and a sustainable cooking practice. Use lard for everything. Lard is incredibly versatile in cooking and beyond. It contains fats that provide flavor and moisture, making it perfect for baking, frying, and sautéing. Render animal fat by heating it on low until it liquefies, then strain and store it in a sealed container. Use it in pie crust to season cast iron, or even as a moisturizer for dry skin. Proper storage ensures lard remains fresh for months. Make do with root cellars. Root cellars were essential for food storage before refrigeration. The cool, humid environment slows the spoilage of vegetables and preserves them for months. To create one, dig a pit in a shaded area or use a basement corner. Store root vegetables like potatoes, carrots, and turnips in sander bins. Monitor humidity and temperature for optimal storage. A root cellar doubles as a great place to store homemade preserves. Save bacon grease for cooking. Bacon grease is an old-school treasure in Grandma's kitchen. Packed with savory flavor, it can replace oil or butter in recipes. After cooking bacon, let the grease cool slightly, then strain it through a fine sieve into a jar. Use it to fry eggs, roast vegetables, or flavor soups and gravies. To keep it fresh, refrigerate the grease and always strain out solids to prevent spoilage. Make a homemade flypaper. Homemade flypaper is both simple and effective. Its sticky surface traps flies, keeping your home pest-free. Combine equal parts sugar, honey, and water in a saucepan, then heat until thickened. Soak strips of brown paper in the mixture and let them dry. Hang the strips in fly-prone areas. For added strength, use twine to secure the paper, ensuring it stays in place while catching unwanted pests. Add filler to meat dishes. Stretching meat with fillers is a frugal yet tasty way to make meals go further. Fillers like breadcrumbs, oatmeal, or grated vegetables bind ground meat while adding texture and bulk. Mix 1 part filler with 2 parts meat, seasoning as desired. This method not only saves money, but also improves nutritional value when using veggies. For a perfect meatloaf or patty, shape the mixture gently to avoid toughness. Use water bath canning to preserve fruits and vegetables. Preserving food for months without refrigeration is possible with water bath canning. This method works by submerging jars of fruits or vegetables in boiling water, which eliminates harmful bacteria and creates an airtight seal. Begin by sterilizing your jars and lids, then fill them with your prepared produce, leaving ½ inch of space at the top. Process in boiling water for the recommended time. Properly sealed jars can last for a year. Create a homemade raincoat from oilcloth. Ever thought about making your own raincoat? Oilcloth, with its waterproof finish, is perfect for keeping dry on rainy days. Cut the fabric into a jacket pattern, making sure to leave extra room for seams. Use a sewing machine or sturdy hand stitching to assemble the pieces, adding closures like buttons or snaps. Customize your design with pockets or trims, and enjoy a functional, stylish raincoat that's tailored to your needs. Use baking soda as toothpaste or deodorant. Baking soda isn't just for the kitchen. It's a multi-purpose personal care solution. Its natural alkalinity neutralizes odors and helps remove surface stains from teeth. For toothpaste, mix 1 teaspoon of baking soda with a little water to form a paste and brush gently. To use as deodorant, lightly dust it under your arms to absorb moisture and control odor. For an added scent, mix with a drop of lavender or tea tree oil. Freeze veggie scraps for stock. Why throw away vegetable scraps when you can freeze them for stock? Grandma would always say this. Onion skins, carrot tops, and celery ends are full of nutrients and flavor. Save them in a freezer-safe bag until you have enough to fill a pot. Simmer the frozen scraps in water for about an hour, then strain. Use the stock immediately or freeze it in portion containers for future use in soups, sauces, or grains. Collect rainwater for household use. Rainwater is an untapped resource that's easy to collect and use. By capturing it in a barrel under your gutter's downspout, you can gather a clean, soft water supply ideal for non-drinking purposes. Cover the barrel with a screen to keep out leaves and debris. Use this water for watering plants, cleaning outdoor areas, or even flushing toilets. Ensure the barrel is regularly cleaned to prevent contamination or algae buildup. Stretch butter with gelatin. Making butter last longer is easier than you think. By incorporating gelatin, you can extend its volume without compromising flavor or texture. Dissolve 1 teaspoon of unflavored gelatin in 2 tablespoons of hot water, then let it cool slightly. Whip 1 stick of softened butter until fluffy, then gradually add the gelatin mixture while whipping. Chill the butter to set. Use salt and sugar to preserve meat. Preserving meat with salt and sugar has been practiced for centuries. Salt draws out moisture, while sugar enhances flavor and slows bacterial growth. To cure meat, mix 3 parts salt with 1 part sugar and rub it generously over the meat's surface. Store the meat in a cool, dry place or refrigerator for several days, depending on the cut size. Rinse before cooking and adjust seasoning to taste after curing. Stretch jams or jellies by mixing with water. You can make jams and jellies last longer by diluting them slightly with water. The sugar content in these spreads ensures that the flavor remains strong even when extended. Warm the jam slightly and mix in 1 part water for every 3 parts jam. Stir until evenly combined and store in an airtight container. Use the mixture as a syrup for pancakes, a glaze for pastries, or a thinner spread. Create compost piles with kitchen scraps. Turning kitchen scraps into compost is a fantastic way to reduce waste and enrich soil. Organic material like vegetable peels, eggshells, and coffee grounds decompose into nutrient-rich humus over time. Layer green materials, scraps with brown materials, dry leaves, or cardboard in a compost bin. Keep the pile moist and aerated by stirring occasionally. After a few months, the compost will be ready to nourish your garden. Use every part of the chicken. A chicken's parts each have unique uses according to Grandma. Cook breasts for grilling or slicing into salads. Use thighs and drumsticks in roasts or stews. Make broth from the carcass and bones, simmered with vegetables and herbs. Fry the skin for crispy snacks and render fat for cooking. Add giblets to gravies or stuffing. Even feet can enrich stock with gelatin for soups and sauces. Stretch meat with oats or breadcrumbs. Adding oats or breadcrumbs to meat can make it go further while improving texture. Oats absorb moisture, keeping the meat tender, while breadcrumbs act as a binding agent. Combine 1 part oats or breadcrumbs with 2 parts ground meat, mixing in an egg for better cohesion. Shape the mixture into patties, meatballs, or loaves. Season generously to enhance flavor and cook as you normally would for a satisfying meal. Use wood ash for cleaning. Wood ash is a surprisingly effective household cleaner. Its fine, abrasive particles scrub surfaces, while its alkaline nature cuts through grease and grime. Sift ash from untreated wood to remove large chunks, then mix with a small amount of water to create a paste. Use it to clean pots, polish silverware, or remove stains. For best results, rinse thoroughly after cleaning to avoid leaving any residue behind. Thicken soups with potato water. The starch in potato water makes it a natural thickener for soups. When potatoes are boiled, they release starch into the water, which can enhance both texture and flavor. Save the water after boiling potatoes and gradually stir it into soups, letting it simmer to thicken. You can also use it to adjust consistency in stews or sauces, adding a subtle richness without the need for additional ingredients. Cook mock recipes. During hard times, mock recipes turned basic ingredients into satisfying dishes. These recipes work by mimicking the flavors or textures of pricier foods. For example, make mock apple pie by layering crackers with sugar, cinnamon, and lemon juice, then bake until golden. Mock turtle soup uses veal or beef to replicate turtle meat's richness. Make soap from animal fat and lye. Soap making transforms basic ingredients into a household essential. The chemical reaction, called saponification, occurs when lye interacts with fat, creating soap and glycerin. Start by melting animal fat slowly over low heat, removing impurities by straining it. Cool the fat, then mix it with a prepared lye solution, lye dissolved in water. Stir the mixture until it thickens, pour into molds, and allow to cure for 4 to 6 weeks. Turn stale bread into pudding. Don't toss stale bread. It's perfect for pudding. The dry bread acts like a sponge, absorbing liquid ingredients to create a rich, custard-like texture. Tear the bread into pieces and soak in a mixture of milk, beaten eggs, sugar, and spices like cinnamon. Pour the mixture into a greased baking dish. Add optional extras like raisins and bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 to 40 minutes. Use an old tire rim as a makeshift grill. An old tire rim can be repurposed into a durable outdoor grill. Its metal withstands high heat while its circular shape provides stability. Clean the rim thoroughly to remove rust or debris. Place it on level ground and fill it with charcoal or wood. Light the fire and position a metal grate on top for cooking. This setup is ideal for grilling meats, vegetables, or even baking flatbreads outdoors. Dry meat on racks for jerky. Jerky making is a practical way to preserve meat. By removing moisture, the drying process inhibits bacterial growth, making the meat shelf-stable. Slice lean meat thinly and marinate it with salt, sugar, and spices for flavor. Arrange the strips on racks with space for airflow and dry them in an oven set to its lowest temperature or a food dehydrator. Store the finished jerky in airtight containers for a long-lasting, portable snack. Create a clothesline from salvaged wire. A clothesline, especially back in Grandma's time, can be made easily using salvaged wire. The wire's strength and durability make it perfect for supporting wet clothes. Find a long piece of sturdy wire, ensuring it is free of rust or sharp edges. Secure the wire tightly between 2 fixed points, like trees or posts, and stretch it taut. For added stability, use nails or hooks to anchor the ends. Clip clothes directly onto the wire using clothespins. Make pillows from chicken feathers. Chicken feathers, often discarded, can be turned into soft pillows. Feathers are lightweight and trap air, creating a fluffy cushion. Start by thoroughly cleaning the feathers in hot, soapy water to remove dirt and oils, then rinse and dry completely. Sew a pillowcase from tightly woven fabric to contain the feathers. Stuff the case with cleaned feathers and stitch it closed securely. Shake the pillow to distribute the feathers evenly before use. For more contents like this, click here to subscribe.